Welcome to Vintage Coin-Op Restorations and one of our latest projects. Here we have Elsie the cow. Elsie the cow was designed by a gentleman in 1936 for the Borden Dairy Company. Borden Dairy Company in the 90s finally closed up shop, but here is a kiddie ride that you see Elsie and this little jug of milk. Make sure you drink your milk. And we are going to bring it back to life. Elsie's seen a lot of injuries over the time. You can see definitely had some injuries on her neck and her legs. Elsie's made out of aluminum, and sometime or another it looks like all the legs have been split, but have been repaired, and we're going to get it back to the way it was. I'm going to guess this ride to be somewhere, I'm going to say probably early 50s, maybe a little bit earlier, just because something you didn't see too often is this cabinet is basically made out of wood. Most of the cabinets in the 50s were made out of metal, or at least they had metal bases. But this base all out of wood. As we look inside the machine, we have a new motor inside there. I'm almost sure that's not the original motor. And fairly simple machine. Elsie, from as far as I'm looking at it, is going to kind of do a gallop. It's going to move, the rear legs are going to move up and down, and the front legs will be moving up and down in unison. So you'll get this, you get like a little gallop. It's not a horse, but once we put it together and see what the kind of movement she gets, we will do a little videotape on that. But it's driven by a chain. Where here, depending on where that chain is sitting, you would get the front legs to go up, or the front or the rear legs to go up in a different motion, because you could see that they're moving in unison, so they have to be timed just right to have that little motion. The motor is being driven by a pulley. In fact, two of them, where you can see from the motor, goes to this main transmission, then it shoots over to the one on the left. It's operated basically by a ABT Bulldog coin mechanism, and hooked up to a probably like a typical kiddie ride timer box of some sort, and you can see that a little bit inside there, but we are going to change that all around and make sure it works correctly. As you can see here, somebody made some little marks there, and that's what I meant by trying to keep it timed correctly where they have it all set up. So stay tuned, and we'll make a new video when Elsie is done. If you have an Elsie for sale, or you need one restored, please give us a call. We're located in Chicago, Illinois. Our phone number is area code 630-624-7466. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my videos so you can see other new machines coming to the warehouse. Thanks for watching. And here we are with it all back together. Elsie the cow was a big pain in the butt. You got these knuckles over here on left and right side, which help it to do a little bit of a waddle, because your knuckle here is allowing it also to move around. It is driven by a chain and two belt wheels. Why, I don't know exactly, but it does seem original, so maybe that's just, you know, the way they built them at that time. Here you got two drive shafts being held together by a collar, and the part that was missing on this kiddie ride was, how did the legs get attached to the two front knuckles? We've been over in this a long time. There's a bunch of holes underneath Elsie there, and the key was you almost need like a union joint similar to a plumbing fixture union joint, or another knuckle like this. And most likely that's what's missing. Somewhere down the line, that union joint must have broke, so they got rid of them, and someone decided just to put a threaded bolt in there. But the problem with a threaded bolt is they're both going the same way in the thread. So as you would tighten this down, you would be loosening the bolt going into Elsie there. So by doing this, what we have is an adjustable screw that you can control the height, and a pin going through to lock it in place. For this part of the threaded rod is secured into Elsie, so it's not going to move at all. And here we can kind of control the height if we wanted to, but right now we did that and we are all pretty much good to go. Also, the original timer was completely toasted, and what you wanted to do was have a coin mech that would activate it and give you a minute worth of riding time. Typically, that is done by having a coin box that would usually be at the top of the ride that you would drop, and the money would drop down, typical on every kiddie ride. This one we had to modify it. We had to have a mechanism to switch on the motor for the timer without having a drop of a coin. But instead, what they did here was a little bit different. They used a ABT Bulldog coin mechanism that, as you pushed in, I'll show you inside here, as you pushed in with the 10 cents, that pushed our timer in and activated the timer, brought it straight down onto the new timing mechanism that we had. The motor got completely rewired, our switching mechanism completely rewired, the machine is grounded down, the motor wires have all been replaced. All of this stuff, if you saw the first video, was all a little bit compromised, just not at a comfortable level that we like to see. So now, though, where is the cabinet? The cabinet I have over here, that hasn't changed, and the cabinet will be rebuilt. But the mechanism is all ready to go. And needless to say, Elsie the cow here has to be completely detailed, painted, but we're happy to get this thing running again. It gave us a lot of headaches, but here you have it. And in a minute or so, you'll see it actually in operation. Well, enough talking about Elsie. We are going to give Elsie a run here. Before we had her for a long time with no head, her head's back on. And there's no doubt that this is Elsie. We're going to date this back to 1937 when Elsie became the Borden, I guess, symbol. And for years, until I think the late 80s is where it finally, the company closed. So here we have this mechanism completely redone, both mechanically and electrically. With the new timer on there, allows the machine to run for 1 minute. And completely different than a typical coin mechanism for like in the 50s you saw, where you had on the post there would have been a big box. Well, that box would trip a little trigger and your money would be in here. Here we had to devise something a little different. Your timing mechanism will be on the base, and we had to figure another way to set this thing to start the timer. And that is what they did here with this Bulldog, ABT Bulldog coin mech. So as we put this in, okay, push it in, you gotta give it a second to hold. Pull it back, and there she is. We have it on a little dolly right now, so it's wobbling around. But if you remember the first video, Elsie was a bronking bull. So there you have it. If you have one of these for sale or you need one restored, please give us a call. We're located in Chicago, Illinois. Our phone number is area code 630-624-7466. Thanks for watching.